It's just told me it's recording. Is it recording for you? Can you see it at the top?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Charisse. Thank you so much for joining me today for this student spotlight interview. So, why don't you first of all tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you study, and a fun fact.
Okay. Hi, I'm Charisse. I study at Anglia Ruskin University, London. I'm studying health and social care management. I practically started from foundation level. I do have knowledge and experience, but I chose, going back to university, I may want to refresh my mind with certain things. So I thought of just starting from the bottom. I've worked in health and social care for a number of years, and I thought of going back to university and having my degree, can kind of link and integrate with me being in a corporate working world. And that helps me a lot, so it's not so much about the experience, but you need to have the certificate to show, knowledge. Well, fun fact about me, I'm a people's person. I love to giggle. I'm not a dull person. I'm very bubbly, so everybody wants to be around me. So yeah, and I'm very likable at uni just before the whole pandemic. Had happened. So I'm always around the campus and with my uni friends and people that I've met from other that studies other subjects. So
yeah. Nice, great, thank you so much. Well, it sounds like you say, you put very politely that you're like a popular person. You're just very bubbly, really nice. So yeah, I can see that. So my next question is a little bit about, you said you've worked in health and social care before, and kind of, you wanted to go back to university. So kind of what made you want to come to London, and kind of what got you to this point?
So I was recently living in Milton Keynes, and I basically grew up in London. I've always known to be a Londoner. I chose, to come back to London because it's a big city basically, and you're easy to navigate around, and there's a lot of people that you can meet along the way. As whereas in Milton Keynes, it's just so small. And it's like, it wasn't really for me, despite of the number of years that I lived there. Why I chose ARU, because the feedback that was given, so number of students that's been there and studied health and social care, as well as whereas other university didn't. I found like the flexibility and the campus was had a lot of stuff to offer for students. For me, for ARU, in terms of environment, the people that work there, they're very polite. There is a lot to offer at ARU. I just can't really think off the top of my head. And obviously a good grades that student had, achieved over the years. So I chose ARU for that reason.
Nice, yeah. I think there's a lot of students that have chosen to come to ARU London for loads of different reasons, and I think that was a popular kind of, from talking to students, popular answer in terms of knowing other students that had gone and had a positive experience, which is really great.
Yes.
So my next question is a little bit different to the ones I've asked previously, but so you haven't really touched on about your life and those kind of things. So tell me a little bit about who inspires you.
Who inspires me? I would say my mum. And when we're talking about celebrities now, I would say Michelle Obama. So there was a quote that she made, like, when they go high, no, when they go low, you go high. And that had always had like a rhythm in my mind, like despite of whatever challenges I go through, or any human being, always aim high. And I think she would be my type of, female that would inspire me. But also as my mum has always been this hardworking woman, never really cared what people think. you know, whatever you're going to do, just do it, you know, just don't have setbacks, you know, just go for it, you know, because that time that you sit down and procrast and think that, oh, I'm going to do it today. And then, you know, as time just goes by, it's like, oh my God, I so wish I'd done it. So, you know, those little simple things that she'd always taught me in life had really pushed me and given me the drive to be where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I think that's a common one in terms of Michelle Obama, because I think anyone would love to have her as a mentor, or love to have her as somebody who would just be like, you know, whenever you're having a bad day, her just sat on your shoulder saying, you know, keep going and those kind of things. So I completely see why she would be somebody who inspires you.
Of course.
Aside from your studies and aside from, you know, what you're doing at uni, what would you say your hobbies and passions are?
I hated reading before, but of lately, not only because of coming to uni, I think as you grow, you started to figure out some stuff that you really need to be aware of. So if you don't read a lot or take some minute or well, I can't even say second, minutes to sit down and just read a small paragraph or something, you know, that can really have a great impact, you know, of your day. So reading, and in terms of like reading, I'm not talking about like a storybook. So I love to read people's like autobiography. I love to read like affirmation books. I'm a Christian as well, so I read like daily like biblical quotations. Aside from reading, I love to network with people. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a people's person. So I love to go to like, you know, concerts, conferences. I love to hear when people speak, you know, because you do learn a lot from people. Charity events. I would say those are the sort of things. I'm not really a party person, as I mentioned. As you grow older, you grow out of stuff. So it's more of like networking, and the networking has to be meaningful towards my life. So
yeah, nice. I think that's something that is such a great quality to have, is your eagerness to network. And obviously that's been made harder because of the pandemic, but it's something that, it's just there's nothing bad that can come from it. You can meet people and talk to people and get to know them and see what you have in common, and that can lead to many different things, and you know, different jobs and the like. So what, out of kind of, you know, when you finish your degree, what do your career aspirations look like? What do you want to do kind of after you've graduated?
I have a lot, and it's amazing how one person would want to take on so much. Where I used to work before relocating back to London, so I was working with a company called the Disability Trust. So it's a rehabilitation unit. And since working there before relocating back to London, I have worked amongst like physiotherapists, psychologists, and you know, it gave me that insight of like, wow, like, you know, I kind of can relate to this. So those are the main two. So either psychology or physiotherapist. Now I know where I am in health and social care, I would need to maybe do a couple of more other, you know, courses in order for me to get there. However, I think when it was just before I broke from uni, I attended the employability a lot, and there were some courses that ARU, not in London, but mostly I think it was in Cambridge, that was offering some new courses in terms of like psychology and mental health and physiotherapies. And I thought, wow, that's great. You know, who would want to switch university? At least I'm still staying at the same university, but having to move different locations. So I think those two would be my passion to go for.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's like a lovely thing to aspire to once you finish graduating. So my last question for you is, obviously, you know, we've been in the pandemic now for over a year, and you know, our freedoms are slightly starting to come back very, very gradually. What is one thing that you cannot wait to do once the pandemic is over?
Networking, so being close without having a distant away from people, and this mask that we have to wear, because it's really hard to understand what people are saying underneath that mask, and to actually see the full image of a person. I would say it, in terms of that as well, networking, like going back out into the world, like meeting people and engaging more with people that I never imagined, because I know this may not relate to one of the questions. So, throughout the whole year, I worked on something that I really wanted to work on, and that was writing a book. And it rested on my mind for a long time because of a really horrible situation that I went through. And I thought, you have to be able to be in a situation in order for change to happen. And that had really inspired me, because I thought, wow, like there shouldn't be like a age limit in terms of whatever you want to do. If you're even in your late 50s, you still are able to achieve something, as long as you've got that mindset and that drive. So that had been one of my biggest, success and aspiration. And I'm really hoping, I'm not in a rush, but I'm really hoping probably by the ending of this year or the beginning of next year, then I can launch that autobiography about myself. And it would just be strictly about myself and, how I cope with things. And, as what I mentioned before, whatever you want to do, just go for it. People will always be people regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really lovely thing. Really lovely, like kind of inspirational motivation to end on. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Charisse, for taking the time out today to come and speak to me in the Student Spotlight. I've really enjoyed getting to know a bit about you and kind of what you want to do with your future.
Yeah.
So if there's any student that is watching this and wants to be our next student in the spotlight, please do exactly what Charisse did. Go to the website, fill out the website form, and it will be sent to me, and we'll arrange an interview. So yeah, thank you so much, Charisse, for taking the time out today, and hopefully we get to see each other in person soon.
Definitely, and thanks for having me.
Anytime.